And then we should be live now on Twitter. So let's take a quick look and send out the tweets, invite people up. Um, yeah, so we are live. I think, yeah, we have been tagged.
Let the puck drop.
Yeah, so this is the awkward bit. we're thankfully not many people listening, but yeah, we're live and we are talking about being live. I'm just gonna add the link to the actual stream so that if people want to join in, they can join in. Join us live. No, hasn't really happened yet. People want to join us live, but that'll be sweet.
Maybe we can get one of our amazing team members to drop it in the Telegram, as we got 2 of them in the stream right now, and that might drag some of them in.
Oh yeah, we've got Murdoch Media. Let the puck drop. It's true, you're live. We've got Heya, excited and ready. All right, wow. Already a lot more engagement than usual. We haven't even started here.
Yeah, well, that's because it's my team and they're just diehards.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Alban, welcome again. Super excited to be here again. We actually did it again. You're the first person I think that we have on for the second time, which is something we definitely want to do because some of these projects just keep on gaining steam, like yours. I think yours yours definitely ahead of everyone else. I think you've the project that have been most funded on Geyser so far. I think you've reached out to Bitcoin, which is incredible. So yeah, great to have you here, man.
Awesome. Super excited to be here.
Cool. So last time we talked about your origin story into Bitcoin. We talked about like the beginning of this idea, how it took you 4 years to create this massive mapping of all the cards, to create this kind of a, you had 140 cards or something like that, and then you kind of stripped it down, and then you kind of went live with a series one after 4 years since the idea of the inception. And the whole idea of Bitcoin trading cards was around creating these really orange pilling in a pack, these experiences that allow people to collect Bitcoin, and we talked about that. So maybe just to start off, it'd be great to see what has happened since then, since our last conversation live. A lot has happened.
Yeah, we were not expecting to sell out as quickly as we did of Series 1. We honestly had about 8 month to a 1 year time horizon for what we imagined it would take to sell out a Series 1, and selling out in 2 months, as amazing as that was, it definitely threw us into a time crunch of, okay, well, we've got to keep the momentum going. And with Miami Bitcoin's conference, that was one we really wanted to do, but we expected we would have cards left over from Series 1. Actually, a lot of cards left over was what we imagined. So we had to really get down to crunch time and create a whole nother series that we were not ready to create. We had a bunch of the cards set up, ideas and everything, but the artwork for this and what goes into creating a series is a massive amount of work. So I really lucked out in the way of finding some amazing Bitcoiners in the space, and one of them, Alani, she was a super fan from day one at Pacific Bitcoin. She jumped in and has been just a massive help. Murdoch Media, we've got some incredible people that have helped us to make moving forward possible, and not just moving forward, but moving forward in a decent amount of time and be able to keep the quality of what we wanted to do. So thank you very much for my team, because without that, we would not be sitting here talking about Series 2 and as far as we've made it. So it really just comes down to the community. And that's something I think we're going to talk about today, is the Bitcoin community and how blessed we are, and how, in my opinion, I think that's the catalyst that the general public doesn't know anything about yet. The Bitcoin is amazing, but once they join the community and they really start to get embraced by the community, more than them even embracing the community, because we embrace them. And that's going to be the big catalyst that is going to bring in the general public, is them getting to experience how incredible the Bitcoin community is, in my opinion.
That's awesome. I love the community aspect to it. But before we get into that, I'm kind of curious just to kind of go right in the at the heart of it, which was orange pilling people through Bitcoin collectible cards. What is your thought on that? Have you been able to just bring the community that already existed together more firmly, or have you also has the project also been able to expand itself to people that didn't know Bitcoin before? And we'd love to hear your thoughts.
It's worked really amazing in both ways. The first off, excuse me, the Bitcoiners and how many of them have come to me and said, I've been in the space for many years and I'm learning so much from these cards. And even some really big influencers that have ripped some packs and they pulled some cards out and said, oh, I didn't know anything about this. Those to me are some of my favorite experiences so far, is having people that have been in Bitcoin for many years, educators in Bitcoin that are pulling cards out and going, oh, wow, I didn't know anything about this. That's really been magical to me. And then hearing their stories about friends and family that they've been trying to orange pill for a long time and how these cards have really helped out with that has been incredible. So way more of that than I really imagined. And that's a major inspiration for me to push harder on ideas for not just orange pilling the general public, but helping Bitcoiners to get orange pilled, even more so than they are. And not necessarily just orange pilled, but red pilled and experiencing Bitcoin. We've had a lot of Bitcoiners reach out and say, I've never used Lightning Network before until these cards. And now I'm doing peer-to-peer transactions with different people in the Telegram group and the community, trading these cards, selling these cards back and forth. And it's getting them to use Lightning Network. It's getting them to utilize Bitcoin more than they ever have. Lots of people that have purchased with Bitcoin, purchasing these cards, and they said, I've never used Bitcoin to purchase anything before. So that to me has been one of the coolest parts. And then for the general public, it's just been amazing. Lots of experiences where before it was, I've got a business card in my hand and I'm talking to someone about Bitcoin, and you only get so far with them. And the whole point of these cards is so many experiences for many years talking to people about Bitcoin and pushing them away with too much passion, accidentally dropping a little bit too hard of a red pill in a situation where they're going, whoa, 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 your tinfoil hat. There's many of those, because I mean, that's every point of Bitcoin is getting people to wake up to the truth of how things work. And the red pill inside of what takes you to really want and need Bitcoin is huge. So instead of the business card and me spouting off a bunch of crazy facts and topics on why we need Bitcoin, being able to hand a pack over and let them just kind of dissemble these little topics one bit at a time has been amazing. I used to do it in the bank, where I would go in the bank and start talking about Bitcoin, and it was pretty successful. But since I had these cards, it's hard to give away a pack because I didn't imagine how much the secondary market and what people would take from these. I figured $5 a card or whatever it might be. But now that the community has put such a value on these cards, it's even hard for me now to want to hand out a pack. So that's something we'll talk about as the upcoming series that will be specifically driven for the general public, because the whole purpose of this is that simple orange pill. But a few packs that I've given away, especially in the beginning, just being in the bank and find the right person that you just kind of have that feeling that deep down they're a Bitcoiner and they don't know it, and giving them a pack and seeing their eyes light up, and then having them reach out within an hour afterwards and, can I meet with you? How do I learn more? It's been amazing. I think we've definitely sparked something with these cards when it comes to that subliminal orange pill.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, I can tell you the same. A personal story. I gave out a few packs that I got from you. Passed it over to friends, some to family, and my brother, actually, who doesn't really care at all about Bitcoin. I gave him one of the packs, assuming that he would completely just reject it. And I said, look, if you don't want it, happy to take it back. Honestly, like, don't feel pressure to have it, right? Hoping that he would actually give him back so I could. And the funny thing is, he actually said, "No, I'll keep it. I'll keep it. You know, in case it catches on." So it was really quite something to experience that. So yeah, and I mean, I assume you must have experienced a lot of similar experiences. But you want to tell us a few of some moments that really stood out in this past few months in terms of like orange pilling people, or just people feeling really connected to your project.
It's the most amazing one that got to experience. This was right around Christmas. We were kicking out the majority of the packs right around then, and I had a grandmother that purchased some packs, and she sent me a on Twitter a video, and I think she said she was from Ukraine, and she put a pack of the trading cards on the Christmas tree, and she filmed her grandson coming in. And I wish I could have shared it, but I did not get permission from her. And the last thing I will do is share anything like that without the blessing of the person that sent it. But just to explain that experience in that video, she called in her grandson and said, "I have your present for you. It's on the tree." And the son comes in, and I think he was around 12, 13 years old, and he's looking on the tree, and he's looking everywhere, and he finds the pack, and he rips the pack off the tree, and he goes, "Bitcoin trading cards, Nana, this is everything I wanted for Christmas." And that to me was the most amazing. Like, it was really hard not to tear up in that moment. And that was my aha moment of, I think we really sparked something here, because really it's the kids more than anything that we need to spark and get them interested, because they are the next generation. They are the hope for our future when we're old and can't walk, and they're taking care of us. And it's the hope for their children's future. So seeing the children get involved has got to be my favorite part of this whole entire thing. And that video alone, I watched it so many times, and it was just like, if I ever get down, or I need some push, some hope, some extra drive, I go straight to that video and just watch it over and over, because that was by far the most amazing moment since. I mean, there's been a lot of amazing moments, but that one was magical.
Definitely send it over, and we can add it to the podcast once we release it as a podcast as well, because I haven't seen it. I think that sounds awesome. And then the other thing you mentioned is actually Bitcoiners getting to discovering your packs, and then deciding that they want to pay with Bitcoin. And that thing, that's in some way it's even more powerful, because it's transferring that idea of Bitcoin as just a store of value to Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. And so enabling people to actually spend their Bitcoin for a Bitcoin collectible. That must have been, yeah, that's very powerful as well.
Absolutely. Way more than I imagined. So
Wow.
This is one I've had a lot of talking points with a few people, and deep discussions on this. And the amount of people that reach out and ask if they can pay in Bitcoin, because on my website we use IBEX, and you have to be a US resident for some reason in order to like get to that point on the checkout.
Oh, wow.
And then what I try to do is drive everyone to Geyser, to be totally honest. It's the top of the page, and that
Wow.
another discussion we'll have, because there's a lot that I'm ecstatic about Geyser and everything you guys are doing, and a whole nother topic that maybe we'll have a couple minutes to talk about. But when people ask if they can pay in Bitcoin, and I have a lot of people that are like, because they don't see it right away, they're going, "Well, I'm not going to buy your project because I can't pay in Bitcoin."
Oh,
Which is pretty
wow.
magical right there on its own. I've had quite a few of those people reach out, like upset
Wow.
that I can't see where I can pay in Bitcoin. If you don't accept Bitcoin, then I'm not purchasing these cards, which is even more amazing to me. That I mean, I get it in some points, and then others, I'm like, you really want to let go of your Bitcoin that bad?
Yeah.
I think one of the big ones is getting people to understand that unless you're paying Bitcoin to a really large company that can afford to be the MicroStrategy in their company of every bit of this Bitcoin is going into my cold storage for the company, for the employees, for the future. I think that is amazing. And I think that is definitely a reason to use Bitcoin. But just for example, when we were in Miami, we were trying to pay with Bitcoin as much as we could. But for me, I don't want to necessarily pay in Bitcoin if the person I'm paying in Bitcoin to is going to transfer that into fiat and sell the Bitcoin off. I would rather keep my Bitcoin in cold storage and continue stacking sats. So for us small businesses, there's a balance in there. And I hope to be able to get this out to the Bitcoin community as much as possible. Is I think it's an important subject that we all need to go over. And that is, it's amazing to pay in Bitcoin. And I think a good portion should be paid in Bitcoin if they can. Using it as a means of exchange is amazing. But at the same time, I don't want someone to take their Bitcoin out of their cold storage or the sats that they've been stacking. And if I took 100% Bitcoin, sadly, I would have to convert a good portion of that into dirty fiat to pay my bills, to pay for the printing, and all of these other parts of my overhead. So for me, getting the discussion out of how much should we take in Bitcoin and how much should we take in dirty fiat? Because again, the last thing I want to do is take someone's hard-earned Bitcoin, especially if they had a KYC or anything like that. There's a lot of work that goes into that for them to pay it to our company, for us to only turn it into dirty fiat and pay our bills with it. So I'm hoping that right now we have a perfect amount that's coming in Bitcoin and the solid amount coming in dirty fiat, because the majority of what comes in has to go right back out to our overhead. So again, for me, I don't want to spend my Bitcoin to a company that's just going to convert it into dirty fiat. I will pay in only Bitcoin to anybody out there that says whatever you pay me in Bitcoin is going directly into my cold storage or to my family's cold storage or my employees. I'm 100% for it, and I will only use Bitcoin. But again, if it's going into dirty fiat because they have to use it to pay bills, I would rather keep my sats in those situations. And I would rather my customers do the same thing in their situation around that. So it's a big discussion. And I think it's a topic that the community needs to talk about more, because I think it's really important to put as much Bitcoin into cold storage as possible. And any company that is doing that, let's shovel it over there. And for me, if there's a small a restaurant or anything at all that's accepting Bitcoin, and they're going, we only get 5%, 2%, whatever it is coming in Bitcoin, and it all goes into cold storage, then 100% of what I pay them will be in Bitcoin, because all it's doing is going into strong hands and it's strengthening the network. And the more and more we can get into cold storage for long-term time preference is definitely the benefit.
Absolutely. And right now we're set up actually in a different way, in the sense that, we use Lightning wallets. People can easily plug in their Lightning wallet, which makes it so easy to kind of set up and launch. But we 100% recommend, when you have more than a certain amount, even up to, when you have $10, move it out into cold storage. Absolutely. I mean, if you're looking to hold it for the long term, I think a lot of people, user projects and guys, are actually have those funds actually to use them as means of payments. So it doesn't apply to them as well, but absolutely, cold storage is critical. Right. So we were talking about how Bitcoin trading cards has been actually definitely talk a little bit more of the community aspect and that kind of time stamping of our experiences. But just quickly going back to this something, because you said it's something that we should talk about more. So just to close off this parenthesis, what do you think should be the key takeaway? What are some of the things that Bitcoin companies and creators, and what should we be doing more of in terms of your experience? Because it seems like you've been a victim of your own success, as in this has become such a big project, right? With so much money coming in, money coming out, like big initial investments. What have been some of your learnings, and what are some of the kind of challenges that one should be aware about?
Like any company that takes off real quick, scaling quickly is really difficult. And I think making sure that you have as close a communication and connection to the community as possible, because the most important part is never dwindling on your quality and keeping your quality up across the board, no matter what. So as much as people really want something right away, for me, I would rather them have to wait a little bit longer to make sure that the quality of what they're getting is the best across the board. So, I mean, even right now, we're getting ready to ship everything. We did not imagine the pre-orders would go this way. Everyone in the community warned us it was going to go this way, but we're like, yeah, come on, guys, you have way too high of hopes. But it went really quick. So we've got a lot to do when it comes to the orders, and it comes down to making sure not just our product is the best, because we've done a good job on that. I think we proved it in Miami. Having the best printer in the world definitely helps to
Oh wow,
assure that. That was one of the greatest things we were able to pick up, is literally the best trading card printer in the entire world.
that's crazy. So you actually purchased it as an asset.
So when it comes to trading card printers, it's one of the reasons it took me so many years as well. Um, the big printers that do the best jobs for Panini and Topps, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, the biggest trading card projects in the world, they do not work with small projects. They do $1 million prints every time they do a print at bare minimum. And these companies or projects that use these printers, they're printing millions of cards at a time. So to get one of these massive printers to take on a tiny project like ours, it's never been done before, at least from the printer that I talked to. And in all of my years of research, um, I believe that 100%, because I couldn't even find these guys online. I searched, I paid people to help search that were like amazing internet detectives, and I couldn't get phone numbers or anything to these companies. So when I was able to finally reach out to them, thanks to an amazing team member that we have, um, they gave us the opportunity, and they said, we've been around 65 years. We've never worked with a small project like this before. But I do believe they see the major potential that we have with this, and it's something brand new. So getting them to jump on with us and give us the opportunity and the chance is massive. So a lot of the questions that I've had is how do we guarantee authenticity? How do we make sure there's no reprints and everything is done with the best standards possible in the industry? But we have the best trading card printer in the industry, and they use only the best standards in the industry, because if they do something wrong, it will destroy their reputation and they will lose everything they've worked for. Because in the collectible industry, everything is highly looked over dramatically by detectives uh, in in the collector's realm across the board, looking for a flaw, because if they find a flaw, then there's a lawsuit. So they're doing everything they can and then some. They sit basically like a casino. When you walk into their facility where they print, they have cameras that cover every single square inch of the entire facility and every single different angle, just like you would have a dealer at a poker table, and they make sure that that dealer cannot do anything
Right.
nefarious, or any of the people at the table. So they take everything extremely professional and cautious, and that just gives us the extra feeling of confidence in everything that we're doing. So having that has been amazing, and that quality across the board is just incredible to have,
Wow.
and makes us feel, again, incredibly confident to be able to put these out to the community, knowing that we have them. But to the main point you were saying, it's beyond that. Now it goes to the delivery of this product, and
Mm.
making sure that every pack is wrapped beautifully and packaged amazing, and making sure that when you receive your package, it comes in the best quality possible. Then on top of that, making sure that there's enough inventory in the back end to, if there's any issues, or there's a missing pack somehow, someone didn't get their delivery, we have a backup, because when we're dealing with scarcity, once it's gone forever. So we have to make sure that everyone gets their package, receives their package, before we can actually allow the last couple packs to even go out, because those need to be held on the back end, just to make sure that every person that makes a purchase of these packs receives their pack before we can call it done.
Wow, wow, amazing. And in terms of your team, and have you guys been paying them in Bitcoin or in fiat? What has been sort of the reception within the team?
Paying in Bitcoin is the ultimate goal. I think it's the same thing we talked about a couple minutes ago. Is I want to pay them all in Bitcoin, but if they need to convert that into dirty fiat, I would rather set up something on the back end for them. We're using Swan Business. Absolutely love Swan. So having a Swan Business account we're able to eventually here start creating things for them in the back end. Is their own little retirement program and working in different ways like that, where I would rather them accept it in dirty fiat if they need the dirty fiat, and allow them to maybe have a little bonus or something in the back that will be stacking sats behind the scenes that will make sure that that's there. So it's definitely a balance. And we're so small right now. We are absolutely tiny. This is unimaginable to be where we're at right now. So everything's still getting worked out, still getting figured out. My team is the most salt of the earth, amazing, wonderful people I've ever met in my life. We are beyond blessed, and they're standing side by side with us, making sure that we create this in a way that is going to give them the drive and the passion to move forward. And I believe they know, but I try and let them know as much as possible that we are beyond blessed to have them. And they're like family, and no one leaves family behind. So we'll be taking great care.
How did they happen? How did they kind of approach you? Sort of, how did you meet the team that is now working on Bitcoin trading cards?
So my co-founder, he's the reason we were able to finally launch. He started out about a little over a year before I launched. He came in, and I had to drag him in because I needed someone to keep me accountable, because there's so much that came down to it, and trying to come up with descriptions for the Federal Reserve and all these different topics on my own was nearly impossible. And reaching out to people in Bitcoin, I was still a nobody. It didn't matter if I'd been around for years. I never cared about social media. I followed, paid attention. Obviously, that's where all the education that I got, but I was never active in it because I really just like soaking in the knowledge and didn't feel like I needed to jump in and give my opinion. So having him come in was huge. And then the rest of the team, we actually started something called Satoshi's Heroes, which was, or is, a sister project of Bitcoin trading cards. And it's basically a comic book series that goes through the story of some kids learning about Bitcoin, diving through a rabbit hole and traveling through time, learning about the different moments in history that shaped the world and shaped the monetary history we're in today. Wow. So this is a really big project. We were gung-ho on it. I brought in...
This is a new series.
This is a new series we're working on. I doubt we're going to be out for at least a year because it's a massive project where we're trying to have a cartoon that comes behind it. This is the more the Pokemon side of what we're doing with this. So right now, Bitcoin trading cards is collectible, fun, and educational across the board. But I think it's more of a grown-up kind of a take. I think the kids are really enjoying it, and that's the main thing. And I think there's a lot of kids that won't be into like a younger version of this until they get into this version. To like my kids, I got 2 teenagers, and if I go too young too quick, they're like, "Oh, Dad, I'm too old for that." So there is a lot of game theory and a lot of strategy that goes behind everything we're doing to be able to reach the public. But yeah, the Satoshi's Heroes is going to be more of a fun storyline take to this, and we put a lot into this idea. And again, like Bitcoin trading cards, we're not dropping this until it's perfect, and there will be stages of this that will come out. And we definitely don't want to water down the market with what we're doing. So every single bit that we do has to be really thought through, and then reaching out to the community, getting their feedback. How do they feel about the timing and what we're planning on doing? The comic book first. So we definitely don't water down the trading cards. A lot goes into this, but that's where my team came from. So I could rant on that forever, but that's where my team came from, was Satoshi's Heroes. And then the trading cards was taking off so quickly that I reached out to the team and said, I could have never imagined finding such an amazing team. Would you guys be willing to kind of put this Satoshi's Heroes idea aside for the moment and come over to Bitcoin trading cards and help us out with that once we get cooking and we can really get all of the odds and ends kind of dialed in, then we can start to filter over a lot of time into Satoshi's Heroes. So it was just by the grace of God that I met some of the most beautiful people ever, and they have been the magic behind this project with me. And without them, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, having met them, I totally concur. Great, I mean, fantastic people, fantastic guys. Love meeting them. Right. So we talked about the team, the challenges of scaling. Let's dive deep and talk about the cards and what they are, right? And really what they are is you talk a lot about education, but I think fundamentally what they are is that they are the people of Bitcoin, right? It's Bitcoin itself, but it's the people, it's the culture, right? You're creating kind of Bitcoin culture, really. You're making it possible for people to actually collect memories. And we talked about this earlier on before the call, that what we're doing here is we're stacking sats, but we're also stacking memories. We're coming together and we're living this really, if Bitcoin really plays out the way that we think it plays out, then everything is changing. Everything will change, and these moments will remain, engraved just in our consciousness. But your cards make it possible for us to engrave these memories in these physical collectibles that we can carry around with you. So, for example, you've created cards about all these Bitcoin companies like Geyser, like ourselves. So we have a Geyser card in your collection. You have all sorts of other great businesses, but you have people, people that are contributing to Bitcoin and have contributed. So you have people, companies, and resources. Obviously, there's also the history of Bitcoin, the technology, et cetera, et cetera. But so I think the people and the business and the resources in particular are really timestamps of who is part of the conversation, who is pushing Bitcoin forward, which I find to be the most powerful thing, because it really becomes really a way to look back at these times that we're living in and think, oh my God, we all played a part in this, right? So how do you think about that element there of kind of culture? Wants to be part of the show, no problem with that.
So I mean, there's perfect timing. There's the whole purpose right there of what we're fighting for. And with trading cards, I mean, the first ones that came out were basically little advertisements that came in packs of cigarettes. So there's so many different elements and many years of research that I did into trading cards that I tried to implement into these cards. And when it comes to the warriors and the Bitcoin artists, the resources, in my opinion, it's 1,000 times, maybe 100,000 times more important than 99% of any sports card that has ever been created. Other than Jackie Robinson, who changed the game, not just for baseball, but for African Americans or just Africans, period, across the world, there were moments in sports that changed everything. But other than something like that, you're just celebrating an athlete, which is great. And I love celebrating athletes, and they're amazing and they've done amazing things. But compared to someone that is working towards literally a revolution to change the entire world for the better, someone that's working towards changing your children's future and shaping their future to have more of a chance of freedom and success than any other industry has ever done before. There's no other industry that should be celebrated more than the Bitcoin industry. And there's no other companies or warriors or people that should be celebrated more than the people in our community and in our industry, because they're working on something bigger than any sports record could have ever been, and any Pokemon card could ever do, or Magic the Gathering. Nothing against those, they're amazing, but like you said, we're time stamping possibly some of the biggest heroes in history. And if we are able to succeed in our goal and our mission, these will be some of the most important people in history. So yeah, time stamping them and what they're doing right now, especially early on, it's like the rookie card. I mean, Barry Bonds' rookie card when he first came out, and then look what Barry Bonds did later. Dylan LeClaire is the rookie card for Series 2 of 2022, and Dylan LeClaire is a powerhouse. And just wait, look how young he is and the potential he has, and who knows how far he can go. So if you have a Dylan LeClaire rookie card 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I see that young man doing the most amazing things for humanity. and that's one hell of a card to collect. So yeah, it's really exciting to be able to timestamp these people and give them the opportunity to be on these trading cards, because I think within 10-15 years these cards could surpass many of these other trading cards could have ever dreamed of, because of the mission we're on and because of the impact they will have on the human race compared to any sporting card ever created, other than maybe Jackie Robinson or a couple others out there.
Fantastic. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. No doubt about it. So curious. So in terms of, you're already looking forward at the future of, what they could be valued at, which is impossible to tell. But yeah, I think based on what you're saying, since they're grounding Bitcoin, a huge cultural and economic and political revolution, then yeah, it would make sense. So what are your so what are your plans for what's next in terms of, I think you had mentioned a series three last time we talked. I don't know if that's still in the plans.
Absolutely. So we did decide we have our flagship series, and that was the first series that came out, Orange Pill in a Pack. And that one is capped at 21,000 packs. It's the most collectible, most iconic. You can call that our platinum series. That'll be the one that travels with us forever. And we will only do one of those a year. We're already the scarcest trading card project ever created with only 21,000 packs, but spreading it out to where we only do that once a year, it just makes us even more scarce. Allows the people that are collecting these to have a lot more fun and engagement with the community, trading them back and forth. If we constantly came out with new packs, it would really hinder the community togetherness and how these amazing Bitcoiners are getting to know each other and trading cards back and forth and really just building a beautiful community because of the scarcity and because they really want that one card and there's only a few. So in order to get it, they have to reach out to other Bitcoiners and create these relationships and build a trust and a peer-to-peer transaction and so many awesome things that come with this. And anybody that's not in the Telegram group, highly recommend it because it's just an amazing group of people. So only one series a year of that, but we are getting ready to come out with what we call Gorilla Packs. And this goes back to the original purpose of these trading cards, which is educating the general public. And right now, the flagship series, Orange Pill in a Pack, every single pack you get is going to come with a holographic or foil card. We call them chase cards. But the Gorilla Packs, there's only going to be one chase card per 21 packs. So there's a good chance you're going to have to rip through 21 packs, or you're going to get lucky and you're going to pull one pack, and that's going to be the first of the 21 packs that'll have a chase card in there. Otherwise, it will be common cards, and they will all be educational and follow in the ethos of what we're trying to do. This allows us to create many more packs without hurting the collectability of what the community wants. And we can produce so many more packs. So we're trying to hit the 210,000 packs, and the price point is going to be dramatically more affordable. These will be produced so that Bitcoiners can purchase these at a really good price and hopefully give them out to friends and family. The flagship series, most people have a hard time handing these packs out because you don't know what's going to be in there, and where the prices went beyond what we do is so most people don't want to hand out their pack, and I we have to create.
It was painful, I will admit, but I've been gifted them, so I thought, okay, let's keep gifting them. But yeah, I can imagine, because I mean, let's just go through that, right? So season 2 was the Busters, right?
Yeah.
And then you had together with that, there was the Future of Bitcoin, the commemorative Bitcoin Miami card pack, and then the Bitcoin Whale pack.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin Whale pack went for what, $120? $121. 121. And the Bitcoin Miami was around 36.
Yeah.
36. Right. Incredible. And instead the Fudbusters went for how much? Just kind of curious.
29.
And that one completely sold out.
No, so I think we're at about 85% right now.
Okay, but in Miami it was sold out. So just
what we had on hand at Miami was
gotcha.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh my god.
Yeah, so the difference between those two, that's a really good point that I need to get across, is you have the commemorative, or not you have the orange pill in a pack. That's
Right.
the platinum series. And
Right.
then these commemorative packs is a whole nother series. And it goes back to what you were talking about time
Uh,
stamping. And I've been to so many conferences over the years, and you get these promo bags, and so much of that um, valuable to the point of there's some great projects in there and you can read about them, learn about them. But if anyone has a wife like mine, you're not even allowed to bring those home, because after stacking so many of those promo bags and items over the years, I was vetoed from the house of having those. So creating something that people can keep and store and have as a momentum from that amazing event they went to, which again, we're changing history right now, and we're time stamping some of the greatest moments in history, especially once we achieve what we're trying to achieve. So being able to go back in time and go, oh my God, do you remember Miami Bitcoin 23? That was amazing, and I got to meet Voss, and I got to do this, and that was when RFK came on stage and did his speech and all of those things. And how do you remember that forever in one little piece? And that holographic card is that memory. And it's something that you can keep with your person forever. You can pass it down to your kids. It's a small item. It takes up no room. You can place it into a solid acrylic little case and put it up on your shelf. Again, it doesn't take up much room. The wife is probably not going to get upset if you explain to the wife, well, this will have its own value of some kind down the road because it's a trading card. Then she's going to go, oh, well, okay, it's not just the worthless, not to talk smack on anybody's promo items. I've done many of those over the years, but the majority of those was not the best investment I could have done, because when I seen those promo items thrown all over the ground walking out of the conference, well, it was quite an investment to see on the ground. So this is one that companies like yours can be put in the pack and be stored forever as momentum and history and kept on the mantle. And even cooler than that, it's going to go on eBay. It's going to go on all these social networks, because people are going to want to share their moment. And as the years go by, they're going to go, well, okay, it's 2028, but I have a 2023 commemorative pack from Miami Bitcoin, and here's the card that I pulled. So it really allows these companies, these conferences, to continue to advertise their conference and their moment in history for many years to come.
mm,
So those commemorative packs, I think, are incredibly special. And we made it two separate series because I don't want people to think that they have to collect the Fudbusters and the commemorative packs in order to be able to be a part of this.
yeah.
You just get
That's really
one
smart.
commemorative pack. Yeah, you're in one commemorative pack, and you have your momentum, and that's all you need to carry with you. If you want to chase cards and you want to do all that, that's a personal choice, but you can just purchase one pack and keep that forever. The price, it's high, and I wish it wasn't, but we're so young as a company,
No,
and
yeah,
unless we print millions of these, we're not getting
no.
and our overhead is
Of
massive.
course.
So we're just
But
trying to
but
get
also, but it's not like the prices are high and people are not buying them, right? People are like stacking up and like they're getting in line to get their hands on these things, and they're going out. So no, I think the market speaks truth, and there is immense value in what you're doing. No doubt about that.
Thank you. Well, they're scarce. That helps. Only 2,100 commemorative packs will ever be produced at that conference. So if you have 10,000 people at the conference, only 2,100 of those people will actually get to collect one of those cards. So
Yeah, that's crazy. That's very scarce if you think about it. Is season three gonna be the same, 21,000 or?
So the Fudbusters Series 3 21,000 will never go beyond that with the Fudbusters,
Okay.
the flagship series. That's where the Gorilla Packs come in, being able to have something that's not as scarce, but there'll be way less scarce cards in there, and the price point will be way more affordable so that we can reach the general public and get these out. We're going to Collecticon, which I believe is around 10,000 people a day in Long Beach, and that'll happen in August of this year. So that's going to be really fun, because that's definitely has nothing to do with Bitcoin at that conference at all. And we're going to go out there, and we've got a very large booth, and we're going to sit down in front of collectors abroad that are going to be there. Comic-Con puts this on, and we're going to give it a shot to be smacked out of the middle of a bunch of people that probably know nothing about Bitcoin and know a whole lot about shit coins, or at least think they do. And we're coming Bitcoin only. We're coming strong. We're going to come with the gentlest, maximalist vibe as possible, where we're going to give them love and we're not going to shit all over them, but we are going to make sure they know that Bitcoin is the only Bitcoin, and one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, and powerhouse those points as much as possible, and hopefully get a handful of these people to understand that NFTs abroad are garbage and you're just collecting a JPEG. And this is my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. No one has to agree with me on this. I just want them to understand that never invest into something you don't fully understand. And if you want to dive deep and really go hard in educating yourself, then do whatever you want to do. I'm freedom for all. I will never be the person to try to tell someone what they should or shouldn't do, but I will push the point of, if you don't understand what you're investing in and you're just throwing money out there, then you're gambling. And just, it's like drugs, like heroin, like any of that. Well, all you got to do is look at history and see that not many people have done very well in that. So if that's what you want to do, just understand that you're taking a massive risk in doing that. So
yeah, with freedom comes a lot of responsibility, right? And opportunities to do good for yourself, but also harm. So
yeah.
you have to, you have to take responsibility, and that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting is that a lot of these, other projects out there, try to really piggyback on the shoulders of Bitcoin, try to piggyback and then siphon off the value that Bitcoin has created. For example, all these NFTs, they claim to be culture, right? So you have a lot of artists that actually are using NFTs as a way to make money, but what they're doing is that they're stripping away the true meanings. Because if you look at Bitcoin, the ethos of Bitcoin, the history of Bitcoin, what Satoshi did, not siphoning value from Bitcoin, but just adding value, not even selling his coins. And then you're creating these NFTs that you're just making to make money and like sell it onto others, and then dump. Let's call it what it is: dumping your token or your NFT onto others, using other blockchains that have all sorts of technical issues and limitations, and also their own ethical pitfalls. It's it's really siphoning culture, actually. And I think what's different about your project is that you're really working along with Bitcoin. You're working with Bitcoin. You're not working against it. Everything about what you've done is about is really speaking to the ethos of Bitcoin, and is really adding value at the cultural, social layer of Bitcoin. It really is adding something that, honestly, I think Bitcoiners needed to do more of, and really improve. And that cultural element can really help bring people back in from these alternative cultures and alternative blockchains and so forth. So really great that you've done that. And I think it will have great, really positive about the positive implications it will have.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that brings us to a point that I really wanted to make of how important it is for all of us to work together as a community and build together as much as possible. If we're able to step back and look at the scale of how massive this revolution is, but most importantly, how difficult it's going to be. And the more you learn about monetary history, the more you start taking the red pill and really understanding how deep all of this goes and how big all of this is. We are all battling the biggest battle in history. It's not just the Revolutionary War, where Americans are trying to establish our own country and get away from the taxes of England. This is literally the entire human race trying to free ourselves from a diabolical supervillain or group of supervillains that have controlled the world pretty much since the beginning of time. Um, it's massive. We are not going. There is no one person. There's no one company that is going to have any chance in hell against fighting this battle and being the supreme leader that's going to make all this happen. There's no way. I don't care how big you are and how cool that the company is, or it's impossible. It is
No.
going to take, like any of the movies that we watch, like any of the stories we've heard. It's, I don't know if you've ever seen Ready Player One, but
Oh
that's
yeah.
so at the end when I can't remember his name, he stands up on the hill and he
Mhm.
calls out to all the people in the metaverse to come together to battle against the super villain, which is the major mega corporation. And it
Mhm.
really took like everyone in the metaverse coming together in one massive battle to make it happen. That's where we're at. It's going to take way more than a few Bitcoin companies, way more than all of these Bitcoin companies. It's going to take the general public. It's going to take people from Africa to South America, all over Europe, all over America, Canada, Australia. It's going to take the entire world coming together. And no, we're not going to get the whole world. I know a lot of people that are statists and communists and they love it and they're all about it. We're not going to get everybody. It's, but there are so many people that just have beauty and love and passion in their heart for the human race that will come in for that reason. My dad could care less about number go up. He came in for the freedom aspect. We're going to trigger different people for different reasons that will come aboard and help us in this revolution, the peaceful revolution. This doesn't need to be fought on battlefields. There doesn't need to be any ammunition thrown. This is the opportunity at a peaceful revolution to help change the human race like never before in history. And we all have this chance to come together to build, I'm not even going to say army because it makes it sound violent, this community, a village that will spread across the world and push this love adoption for the human race to give us this opportunity more than anything that's ever been done. And I'm really positive. For one of the first times in my life, when I found Bitcoin, I was so red pilled already, and I was diving so deep into so many things. And I got a little bit of hope in me, but as I got in and started meeting people like you and people like the Bitcoin shooter in my team,
Mhm.
Tone Vase, the community of pack stackers, we call them, and getting to meet these people in person, my hope is just growing by the day on the fact that we have one hell of a chance to make a difference and give our children and the next generation an opportunity that we never could have dreamed of. And the future is bright and orange, and we just have to come together. And if we come together, the more we come together, the more hope I will have. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, man, I absolutely love it, and it comes in such an easily digestible way as well, because it's such a it's like it's what you're saying makes so much sense for me, right? But to an external person, this may sound completely bizarre, and yet what you're doing is making it so digestible, so accessible. Um, uh, Again, I just keep reminding myself of my brother, who's so find these concepts so difficult, so not mainstream, that Austrian economics, oh, that's just bogus, and yet it makes this closer, brings people closer. So to me, the answer is, and kind of really one of the reasons why I think I founded Geyser was, we need to bring, well, not only crowdfunding as a tool for people around the world, but also we want this revolution through culture, right? It's through culture that we can really make this revolution, like you said, relatable, to make Bitcoin relatable, because there's so many things to unpack. Also, when I went down the rabbit, I was like, oh my god, it just keeps on going down, and you've got the history, you've got the money, and you've got the technology part. There's so many things to understand, and we're never really gonna win if we don't really strip it down. And even started looking at some Bitcoin films in the last few weeks, and just kind of really taking them, seeing all the Bitcoin films I can find. And honestly, I think there's only one maybe film that is basically shareable, right, to others. There's incredible talent, don't get me wrong, but we're just not there when it comes to explaining Bitcoin in simple ways, orange pilling people like the meaning of Bitcoin, the origins, the and, and there's a lot to do, like, and a lot of that is educational, is community, is cultural, and so, again, I'm just gonna say this again, but I love what you're doing because it's just so, it brings it home. It brings it home. It's really small, orange pills. It makes it fun. It makes it, collectible. So yeah, we need more of this. We need more of it. We need faster. No pressure, Alan. But yeah, basically, love it so much, and it's so powerful, so important. So speaking about the global, do you have any plans in terms of expanding in other languages or things like that?
Absolutely.
Oh
So
yeah.
another part we're working on that'll actually, I think it will be out in the next month or two, is called A Proper Orange Pill in a Box. And what this is it's 52 cards that come in a box, like playing cards. They're tarot card size, so they're going to be a lot larger, so that they're easy to read. The artwork's a little bigger. No collectability with this really at all, other than it's just an early Bitcoin project, which those have their own collectability period, just for all the reasons we're talking about. But these boxes will be so affordable that a lot of them will be free to a point. So this is where we are really going to, we're trying to get to the point where once we are really up and running smooth enough, we can take a portion of any of the proceeds that we get from this project and use them to purchase these boxes. And they will be strictly educational, and they will come in on, instead of a series, it'll be a level. So level 1 will be Bitcoin basics. Level 2 will be the next step. And just exactly what you were talking about. It's too much all at once. So start them off really slow and simple and move their way up. And we hope to be able to give away as many of these as possible, to as many nonprofits as we can, to the Boys and Girls Club, homeschool societies, just everywhere we can, because we can print these at a price that is affordable enough that we can, again, almost give these away. And these are not for profit to us whatsoever. This is strictly to just get the word out about Bitcoin and make it as simple and easy as we can. So, to your point of the languages, after we get the first set done, we are working with a translator to get them done in Spanish, and hopefully be able to kick those out. If not by the end of the year, beginning of next year. We're trying to get this out as soon as possible. It just depends on how well the first boxes go. But doing those in multiple languages is my ultimate goal right now, because it's realistic. Printing a pack where you have to rip the pack open and go through all of that, the costs are so extreme that it may take us way too long, and the price is going to be too much. And what we need is a price that is almost free for these other countries. So if we're able to kick these out to India, well, India, most people in India can't afford even $14 for a pack of trading cards, and all they're going to get is 10 cards in a pack. How much are they going to be able to learn off of that? Where with these boxes, if we can get the price point under $5, or even to the point where we're donating, if you have a nonprofit over in India and you want to help us to reach out and say we can help you, if you guys can cover the cost or whatever the time is to translate this into your language, and we can get those printed and send them out to your nonprofit and almost do that for free, if not for free, then those can go out and really start to connect to people, because you get all of that education in one box instead of having to rip multiple packs
Yeah.
at even $12. The education is too expensive. Where this is going to be the orange pill in a box that I
Yeah.
think is going to be the biggest impact, and getting different languages to have these go out to all areas of the world, I think it's going to be the most amazing part about this. And everything that we do with the rest of the series is only the gateway and the power and energy that is going to give us towards going towards these projects, these parts of the what we're doing that are going to be the biggest impact. So for anybody that's looking at it like, well, this is another type of NFT, or it's this physical, that's not, we had no idea that people were going to put a price on it beyond the pack, beyond a couple dollars. Whatever happens beyond what we do, we have nothing to do with. And that's just the joy of people loving these cards, which I love to see. But any support that we get from anybody in what we're doing right now is really going to feed everything that we need to do to get these boxes out, to get to the educational part, to get to the point where we are distributing massive amounts of education as cheap or as free as we possibly can around the entire world.
I love that. That sounds like something we could probably also do on Geyser, get people to fund delivering these boxes as much as possible, as fast as possible. We'll have to help with that if needed. But yeah, absolutely love it, man. Are there some things that we should probably cover that we haven't so far?
I think we went over quite a bit. I think our main point, and especially having this conversation with you, working with the community, again, we already went over this, but I just want to nail that in as much as possible before we jump off here. The inspiration that I got from you, being able to speak with you and have our one-on-ones here and there is magic, and gives me so much fire. And the more we connect, the more energy we're going to have to keep creating and keep building. And I just recommend to anybody out there that's trying to start a Bitcoin project in any way, this is a different industry. Reach out to the plebs, reach out to the small companies that are starting up in the projects, and please try not to look at it like a competition. It's not competition. We are not in competition with each other. Again, if anyone in this industry thinks that they are going to be the catalyst on their own to making this revolution happen, to hyper Bitcoinization, you're crazy. I'm sorry. I'll just call you out right on the spot. It's not going to happen. The battle is too big. You come down off your high horse, my dad would say, and embrace your friends and family, embrace your community, and work together. Even if you have someone who is in direct supposed competition, they could be your catalyst to success. I'm an artist. Everything that we do for the most part is art and education. And why in my opinion, have we taken off so quick? Because we're specifically working and collaborating with artists and educators and other companies in the space to grow what we're trying to do. It's the power of not this little project, this little idea. It's the power of all of these amazing companies like you, like Geyser, that is helping us to reach heights that we could have never imagined. And we will never get to anywhere beyond where we're at right now without continuing to work with the Bitcoin artists, the Bitcoin athletes, anybody and everybody in Bitcoin that has something to contribute towards this revolution we're in, towards hyper Bitcoinization, towards my children's future, your children's, everyone's children, and their next generation beyond that. If that's your goal and your mission, then please just understand that we cannot do it alone, and we have to reach out to as many people as possible and come together to make this happen. And your biggest competition might be your biggest catalyst towards success.
Yeah, 100%. Geyser wouldn't be possible without you, with other creators out there adding so much value, taking their creative ideas and actually launching them. And our mission is to enable these small ideas to launch, but then ideally you guys also as you have done take off and but are still obviously part of the community, and like you said, the artists, there's so much cross pollination, so much value to be added. So yeah, totally agreed. We win this together. Because even from a technical perspective, we couldn't do it without people that are developing technical solutions that support us and so forth. So it's all connected. And it's just about thinking about how can you add value, right? How can you make someone else's life better, easier? How can you enable creators? How can you enable in your case, I think what you're doing is you're really saying, how can I tell us the story of Bitcoin to everyone? How can I distill such complex things into, how can I make it easier for people to understand Bitcoin. Really, that's what you're doing. How can I make it easier and fun, right? Which indirectly is easier, because if things are fun, they're easy. So
yeah, it's got to be fun.
yeah.
There's quite a few people that I've sat down with. I've given them the books and got them started. And just one the other day, he came back and he was like, "Man, I was falling asleep listening to that book." Well, yeah, there's got to be something that sparks you, and until something sparks you, and usually it's something with a red pill that sparks you, because you're like, Bitcoin number go up, oh hell yeah, I want to make some money and all that. The majority of the people getting in early, it's going to be a freedom aspect. It's going to be a red pill aspect that sparks you into not just, oh well, I'm in Bitcoin because I can make a lot of money. It's for you to become passionate about Bitcoin. It's going to be a red pill spark, most likely. I highly doubt the majority of people are going to spark unless they're already an intellect, unless they already have some deep understanding or thought they had a deep understanding of monetary theory or monetary history. There will be a lot of people like that for sure. But the majority of people are going to find out one of these red pill moments and they're going to go, oh crap, and Bitcoin has the chance to save us from that. Okay, I'm in. So, and then they're interested. Then they'll start to take the time to understand and listen to these podcasts that originally were incredibly boring. And now, like me, same thing happened. Red pill, I'm all in, and I'm like just soaking it. But when it came to like the monetary side of it, it took a lot for me to get to the point where I could sit down for 4 hours and just continue soaking and love it. Not just like want to listen to it because I need to, but be massively interested and want to soak more and more of it up. So yeah, it's got to be a hell of a spark to
move people in that direction, right?
from
So,
a video game to a educational monetary theory podcast.
Yeah, it's not the subject on people's first top of the list usually. So tell us, where can people find you? Where people can find your Bitcoin trading cards? But also, I want to know. I think people are gonna want to know online, but also where next? You did Bitcoin Miami 2023. What's next in terms of conferences and events?
So the Collecticon in August is the next one we have up. That one I'm most excited about and most nervous about, because hitting the general public like that is going to be we better have our shit together. And I think we will. I think we're prepping, learning what we learned from Miami and Pacific Bitcoin is major help. It's just taking all of those learning experiences and putting into the next. But at the same time, those are Bitcoiners. We're heading into the trenches. Like, we're going to a Comic-Con event. This one's going to be a hell of a battle, because we're stepping out on the battlefield. I think like no company has done before with something like this when it comes to hitting the general public this hard with Bitcoin. So wish us luck on that one, and we'll be filming and hopefully getting some other Bitcoiners to join us there to help us out. Then after that, we have Pacific Bitcoin, which I'm really excited about. We've got some really big announcements coming up for that one. Anyone out there that is considering it, that likes the cards, is interested, I mean, I would go, period, even if we're not there. Pacific Bitcoin is amazing. Swan is the signal. I mean, they are incredible. Best conference I've ever been to by far.
Wow.
But what we have planned for that one is going to be really excited. We're definitely going to do some game changers there. And because we have a very strong and close relationship with Swan and some of the founders at Swan, we're bringing it hard. So that one will be incredible. And then, of course, Tone Vase, he's one of our advisors. So we've got some amazing plans for Unconfiscatable. I think that one will be really cool because it's such a small conference in the way of just not many tickets sold to that. So it'll be really tight niche, and everyone will really be able to experience the community together in that one quite a bit. So those are what we have lined up for the year.
Fantastic. And Unconfiscatable is Las Vegas, right?
Las Vegas, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, beginning of December.
Cool. Well,
Yeah, get your tickets
that's
quick on that one because not very many of those, and that's a really fun. I haven't got to make it yet, but I've watched a lot of the YouTube videos for years, seeing
right.
when they have it. They've got the Scammy Awards and things like
Right.
that. I absolutely love that.
Oh,
That's
that sounds
again,
fun.
it's the fun. So I'm super looking forward to that.
And are you expecting like custom packs for them as well, or?
Yeah, yeah, we'll
Oh,
do that.
wow.
Absolutely. So again, it's kind of like the triathlon where you go to 4 in a year, and at the end of the year, you were collecting your little piece of that coin at each one of those, and at the end of the year, you get this large coin, and then you put all 4 of your triathlons that you ran into that one big coin, and now you've completed the coin. So we'll be doing that each year. We'll pick 4 conferences that we will do these commemorative packs in, and if you can make it to those, then you'll be able to do it. If you can't, we will have limited amounts that will drop for the community that can't make it. I know we have people from all over the world that they're not able to come and enjoy these experiences, so being able to get them a little piece of that's really important to us. Obviously, we have to have the majority of them for the conference for the people that are there, but we'll have little sneak peeks and abilities for people to grab one here and there if they're able to grab a limited one, because only 2,100. And to your other point on the conferences, we are next year, we're really hoping to do BTC Prague. We're hoping to do some European conferences. That's really important to us. And we've got a few people in the community that have reached out that we've been talking to for a while, of trying to figure out a way to get some of these packs over to different countries to get around the horrible, stupid, ridiculous custom taxes that are charged, and
Right.
all of that insane crap that I feel horrible when people purchase them and have to pay that. But there's nothing we can do about it. This is the battle we're in and why we're battling, because I mean, customs tax is the biggest load of shit that I've ever heard
Yeah.
of, compared to a lot of things. But yeah, so we're working on all of that. Again, just hopefully people bear with us and give us that time, because we're still tiny. And if anyone has information, if anyone can reach out and help us and understand how to get around these different things, please reach out. We're always more than happy to hear from people that can help us get around these things.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Please do reach out to help. I'm sure there's other ways to help as well, right? If there's any, are there any other areas of Bitcoin trading cards where you're looking for help, or people can reach out to you for?
Yeah, I mean, I think leading up to the pop boxes, if someone's running a nonprofit, if they're doing anything in the way of just trying to get education out, and they feel like this could be a really good way to do it, reach out to us. We're trying to get those lined up so that we already have areas for these to go out. We'll have some that will be for sale in retail, and then all of those retail ones will be used, all the profit from that or proceeds from that, to purchase the ones that we'll be giving out to nonprofits. So if anyone is trying to do something like that, if you have, again, you speak another language and you want something like this in your country and you're willing to reach out and help us get that done, help translate these cards, we would absolutely love that. Let's get these done in as many languages as possible. So I think that's the really big one. And if you're in the community, we ask community input all the time on the Telegram and different places like that. So yeah, we're always all ears for help.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Go check out Bitcoin Trading Cards on Twitter, but especially on Telegram. Such a great community. So many good memes. You will miss out if you're not there. Again, Aldan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Let's do this again. Soon. Next year, whenever we feel there's a good time. But yeah, it's been such an honor to have you on Geyser, to be one of the platforms that helped you launch on Geyser, and seeing how far you've come. It's incredible. It's astounding. So thank you so much for what you're doing, and for what you're going to do as well, because a lot of good stuff happening. So yeah, keep in touch. Let's see what happens next.
Absolutely.
As I said, I wasn't bullish enough, so let's see if I'm not bullish enough.
Well, I think next, let's bring you on and do a Spaces, and I'll interview you. You'll be my first interviewee. I haven't done that yet, so I want to bring you on, and we'll be able to talk more about the community. And if we do it on Twitter, I think it'll be really cool to grab some of these community members up and get them on and just discuss together. The plebs are going to change the earth.
Totally. Totally. Well, awesome. Again, thank you so much, Aldan.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Much appreciated.
All right, saved.